helping make your life easier. Moms Every Day.
Hello, welcome to Moms Every Day. I'm Amanda Lanham. Today on the show, we're talking about something called high five parenting. I'll tell you what that is a little bit later. The Red Cross is here to show us how to do CPR. It's a little bit different for adults and kids, as you can imagine. If you're in the market for a contractor or one day may need to hire one, you'll want to listen to what Angie's List says to know and what to ask. Also, guidelines say kids should be getting 60 minutes of exercise a day. We'll talk about why most aren't and how you can help change that. One way to help them be healthier is to lead by example. Here are some changes that you can make today to be healthier. They take almost no effort. From health.com, take 20% off. I'm not talking sales, I'm talking portions. Some of the healthiest, that is, countries in the world are eating at least 20% less than Americans. That's something to think about. Pile on the plants. Healthy Living author Dan Buettner recommends thinking of meat as a condiment rather than the main event. Retrain your taste buds. Studies show that it can be done. If you eat more wholesome foods, you can learn to prefer them. We've got plenty of healthy living tips for you on MomsEveryday.com. Just click the health button. And I know it's hard. As a brownie and chocolate addict, I'm there with you. There's a lot of information out there for expecting parents, but we don't all have time to read through books. I know when I was pregnant, I found that short daily notes from apps and emails were the easiest way for me to get information personally. Josh Mabry has found several such apps good for families expecting their first child or their second or their third. Hi, Josh.
Hey Amanda, today I have 3 apps for families with new babies on the way. The first is designed for the children you already have. The Big Baby app functions as a learning game for kids. They're taught to take care of an infant sibling through virtual tasks in game form. It's up to the kids to decide if their tech tots need to be fed or maybe put down for a nap. Big Baby app cost $1.99 and was recently featured at coolmomtech.com. Moms-to-be should check out Baby Bump. This app walks you through your pregnancy, offering a daily tip and a countdown calendar. You can post weekly photos of your baby bump and journal in the months during pregnancy right on the app. At $3.99, this app is marketed as an all-in-one solution for expecting mothers, but if you're on the fence, you can always try the free version and then upgrade at a later time. Finally, a little something for the new dads-to-be. M-Pregnancy is an app that tracks pregnancy in terms most men can understand. Like, your baby is now 12 weeks old, you have 28 weeks remaining as a free man. And I love the way it tracks the size of a baby during pregnancy, comparing it to items like beer bottle caps and footballs. For 99 cents, this app looks like a lot of fun, and based on user reviews, it actually does teach you a lot about babies. Amanda, we have a whole lot of free resources for parents online at MomsEveryday.com. And of course, you can download the Moms Everyday app for Android and Apple for easy access on the go.
I especially like the Dad's app. All right, thanks, Josh. Still ahead, you never know when you may need to perform CPR. You could save a life. We have a lesson coming up.
Helping make your life easier. Moms Every Day.
CPR, it's one of those things everyone should learn how to do, but hope that you never need to use it. We're not taking any chances, though, especially with kids around. We have American Red Cross volunteer and instructor Jennifer Wegener here, certified in CPR, and you teach some courses at the Red Cross, right?
Yes, that's
Welcome,
correct.
Jennifer. Okay, so we want to talk about first the difference between adult CPR and CPR on kids or infants. What is the difference? What should we know?
Well, because they're different body sizes, you have to accommodate for those differences. So for an infant or a child, you want to make your compressions a little bit less deep, as for an adult, you would want to make a deeper compression. And your breathing is going to be a little bit less for their smaller lung capacities.
Okay, we've got our little child demonstrator here. Show us, can you walk us through the steps real quick of how we would perform infant CPR? Okay.
If you had an infant, first thing you want to do is check, make sure the baby's okay. Hey, are you okay? Tap and shake. And then if you don't get a response, you automatically call 911 or have somebody call 911, because that is you want to get help there right away.
Yeah.
And then after that, you check for signs of life. So you look, listen, and feel for breathing, and check for a pulse, which you do on an arm for an infant. You do that for no more than 10 seconds.
Is that right under the bicep or in the armpit? Where
It's right along, actually, if you have your arm up here, it's right about here.
Okay.
It's the brachial artery.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
All right. I'm learning something already.
And then if you don't get any kind of signs of life, then you give 2 breaths.
You want them to be slow?
You want them to be about the same that an infant would be taking.
Okay.
A regular normal breath. You take a breath, give a breath, take a breath, give a breath. And you do want to make sure you have either pinch the nose shut or completely cover it so that that air doesn't go out the nose.
Right, okay.
After you give 2 breaths, then you give compressions and you use your fingers because it's smaller body size. And you do it on their sternum and you give 30 compressions. And it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, and 30.
And then the 2 breaths again.
And then 2 breaths. And then you just keep repeating that cycle until help arrives or until something happens that would maybe the baby starts breathing on its own or starts to move in any kind of way.
How do you know if you're pressing too hard or too light?
You want to press about 2 inches is
Okay.
what they recommend. It's kind of hard to tell, but you are gonna feel bones possibly breaking or separating. You might hear some crunching. That's normal because
Oh,
you
my
are
goodness.
doing body damage. But it's more important that you get their heart to circulate the blood, rather than worry about if you're breaking a bone.
Yeah. Okay, so this is something that everyone obviously should learn and be certified in.
I highly recommend. Yes.
Yes. Okay, we can do that at the American Red Cross.
Yes. They have classes scheduled throughout the nation through different time periods. You can go to the website www.redcross.org, or you can call the 800 number, 1-800-RED-CROSS, and they can give you direction as to where you can take a class and when those are offered.
Do the costs vary for that class?
For CPR, for just straight CPR, it's $90. If you want to include first aid with that, it's $110.
Okay.
And that's just, I know that's the price for our area. I don't know about nationwide.
Is it just one class and you know what you're doing?
They will train you. It's about a 6-hour course, I believe, and
Okay.
it's it'll train you. They give you a certification that'll be good for 2 years, but you could recertify. And they have updates online that you can go online and make sure that you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because we train you once, but you may forget after so many days.
I think a lot of people say, oh, I saw it on TV, I could do that.
It's a little bit more complex.
6 hours, I would say, is a little bit more. All right, Jennifer, thanks for showing us this today.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, up next, we have a quick and easy recipe for bruschetta.
Today we are making a bruschetta recipe that couldn't be easier. It's the perfect appetizer, and I'm in the kitchen with Chef Chris Anderson. Hey, Chris.
Hi.
So you're going to show us how to make an appetizer that we can have at the ready when the guests come.
Oh, absolutely. It's a little bit better to make it beforehand, so that way it has a bit of time to sit and let the flavors mingle.
Okay.
So what you do, you start off with a little bit of basil, and you need to have fresh basil. You can't have the dried stuff, because I'm going to do a chiffonade, which is a very specific variety of knife cut. What you do is you stack them on top of each other. Having a sharp knife is a real key for
That's
this,
key.
but you curve your fingers back and use your finger right there to
Your
guide
knuckle.
it,
Okay.
and you want it to be no more than 1/8 of an inch thick.
Kind of an up and down movement.
Yes. That goes in first. And you add 1/2 cup of shredded Parmesan cheese.
Ready?
And then we need to dice some tomatoes.
Does it matter what kind of tomato you're using?
As far as dicing goes, I prefer to use Roma tomatoes. And you lop off the top and you cut it vertically.
Oh,
And then you go vertically again.
the other way. Okay.
And then you just dice it up once they're all laying down. Add that to your chiffonaded basil,
So that's 6 tomatoes in there.
6 Roma tomatoes
All right.
of medium size, and then we're gonna do the garlic. And garlic is kind of tricky. You really need a sharp knife
bet.
for this. Chop off the root end of the garlic, and you want to turn it sideways. And just like the chiffonade, you want to use your fingers as the guide and cut it as paper thin
Ooh.
as you can get it. You want to try and scoop that as much as you can right in.
Okay.
I have a mixture of salt and pepper, and I did about a half a teaspoon of that
Okay.
right on top, and then a third of a cup of extra virgin olive oil.
So stir this together.
So then just stir that all together, make sure it's nice and well blended.
Okay, and then after that,
After that, you put it
we've got this.
in the refrigerator, let the flavors mingle for probably about a half an hour or so, and then you have that, and you serve it on any variety of...
Of cracker. The flavors have blended well. These are awesome. Thank you, Chris.
Absolutely.
We'll have the recipe.
Now, recipes at MomsEveryday.com. Well, kids aren't getting the amount of physical activity recommended. Do you know what is recommended? We'll tell you next and talk about a project working to make Kansas schools healthier.
Helping make your life easier. Moms Every Day.
New numbers from the federal government find only 25% of children ages 12 to 15 get the recommended amount of daily physical activity. Now, with more than a third of children and adolescents overweight or obese in the U.S., guidelines say that kids should be getting 60 minutes of exercise a day. Are your kids? Marley Hall talked with some teens about what gets them active.
13-year-old Brandon Darvinoff estimates he gets 2 to 3 hours of exercise a day.
I play football, basketball, cricket, soccer.
But he's not the norm. A new study from the CDC finds only 25% of children his age meet the national guidelines of an hour of moderate to vigorous activity a day.
This number is good, but we can do better.
Brandon is an 8th grader at PS 126 in Manhattan, where most of the students play at least one sport.
Throw your right, step with your...
Phys ed teacher John DiMatteo says the key is to find the right activity for each child.
The kids have to have fun. If they're not going to have fun in phys ed, we're going to lose them to video games and television and computers.
Health experts say an hour a day may sound like a lot to some, but it is doable.
Walking your dog for a long period of time, dancing, playing basketball.
Brandon's classmate, Kendall Chapman, also spends hours a day playing everything from volleyball to basketball and softball.
I meet a lot of people through sports, and I don't like sitting around doing nothing.
And most kids aren't doing nothing. The study found half the children exercised an hour a day, 5 days a week.
Basketball was the most popular sport among active boys, and running was the most popular sport among active girls. In addition to helping kids live active, healthy lifestyles at home, they're spending a lot of time at school, of course, and you want that to be a healthy place as well. Mark Thompson is Project Director of Healthy Kansas Schools. He's here with me today. Hi there, Mark.
Hello.
Thanks for coming in. So first, tell me, what is Healthy Kansas Schools?
Healthy Kansas Schools is a collaborative effort between the Department of Education's Child Nutrition and Wellness and the Department of Health and Environment's Bureau of Health Promotion, running programs that are primarily funded by the Kansas Health Foundation with a focus on increasing physical activity among students.
So what are some of the things that we would see coming from this program?
Well, one is a program called KFIT. It stands for Kansas Fitness Information Tracking, and it works with physical educators across the state to provide them a fitness assessment tool so that they can do fitness testing with their students. And they can develop individual student fitness reports and parent reports that can be sent with the student or provided to the parent to give them an idea of where their student stands in terms of their fitness level. Another program is called Let's Move Active Kansas Schools, and again, it works with physical educators to give them the tools to work within their schools to increase physical activity throughout the school day.
And you were telling me a little bit about some programs that aren't necessarily part of the Healthy Kansas Schools, but they're still involved in schools. Tell me about that.
Yes. There's a program called Eat Smart, Play Hard, and it's, again, within the Child Nutrition and Wellness Division of the Department of Education. And they have developed a variety of materials, some video segments and some educational materials to highlight nutrition strategies, some take-home messages to show what is being done in schools, but also to provide parents some resources so that they can create healthier environments in their homes.
And that's really important, I think, to link between school and home, because you can't just have it in one place and expect the kids to really hold on to that information and live the healthier lifestyle.
Well, we can't expect kids to get all of their physical activity at school, and we can't expect them to get all their physical activity at home. It really should be a shared partnership.
All right, so if there are parents out there wondering, is this going on in my school? I haven't heard about this before. How do they know that?
I would suggest that they first contact their physical educator. The physical education teacher will be able to tell them whether they're participating in K-Fit or whether they're participating in Let's Move. And if they're not, then they can encourage them to do that, or they can always contact us at Healthy Kansas Schools.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for being with us today,
Well,
Mark.
thank you very much.
We'll get those links up for you at MomsEveryday.com. We have tips from Angie's List next, things to watch out for and what to make sure you know before you hire a contractor.
The high five is like the handshake of preschoolers. The high five is their bond, and by doing a preemptive high five, you can help your kids agree to follow through on good behavior. Marilee Bradley is here from AmusingMarilee.com. Nice to have you.
Thanks for having me on.
The high five.
We did it.
Yeah, why does it work so well for your family?
Well, this is what I love to do, especially with my little bitty ones. If I'm asking them to do something that I know they probably aren't going to want to do, so if it's clean up their toys, then it's great to say, now it's time to clean up your toys. High five. And they get a little excitement about it, that, yeah, it's time to clean up my toys, instead of you coming across as more negative about it, or you better clean up your toys. But being able to be positive and say, you did such a great job at this yesterday. I know you can do it again. Let's see if we can do it even faster this time, and get their excitement and enthusiasm going towards your goal of cleaning up those toys.
Positive reinforcement goes a long way, doesn't it?
It absolutely does.
All right. Thank you, Marilee.
Thank you.
Good tip. Now, your house is your biggest asset, so you should do as much as you can to avoid a hiring disaster for work on your home. In today's Angie's List report, why the questions you ask are important when hiring a contractor.
Gordon Welt enjoys the deck he had installed over the summer, but he did a lot of work before his deck project ever began. Welt sought bids from 5 contractors before picking the company he felt was right for the job.
He was very, very knowledgeable during the estimate, and some of the ideas he was coming up with, he was able to do the math calculations there. He didn't need to go back and do a computer. I knew he was experienced, and some of the terms that he was using were very easily conveyed to me as a customer, and being able to get our ideas down on paper before he even left to do the estimate.
Meet all potential contractors face-to-face and prepare a list of questions to ask every contractor you interview specific to your project.
When interviewing your contractor, you want to use some of the same skills you might do in interviewing someone for a job at work. You want to use open-ended questions because you'll learn a lot more about how they can handle situations. You know, one of my favorite questions is to ask them about a job that maybe didn't go right and how they fixed it.
It's also important to ask questions that go beyond the basics of the project. Make sure you have a good rapport with the contractor. That can make communicating easier, especially when it comes to changes or problems in the middle of the job.
The most important question homeowners can ask when hiring a contractor is whether they trust their gut instinct. Follow your gut instinct when interviewing, because remember, especially if you're doing a kitchen remodel, you're going to have this company or these contractors in your home for a long time. In fact, they kind of become part of your family.
For me, being involved, this is just like your car. Everything else is an investment, and if you're not involved, you don't have an excuse for the product you get at the end. So take the initiative, be involved, and speak up during the whole process, and that's the only way you can get a good product at the end.
They also say never hire someone you feel uncomfortable with. Always treat hiring like building a relationship rather than just a transaction. To strengthen your relationships with new moms, check out the 5 ways you can really help them. That's waiting for you right now at MomsEveryday.com. And speaking of new moms, if you are one, there's also a post from a blogging mommy about her adventures in sleep training. I could use that one right now. And click the health button for the top fitness trends of 2014. I hope what we've talked about today will help you around the house and with the kiddos. I'm Amanda Lanham. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Moms Every Day online or on the go through our Moms Everyday app. Download it today to find local solutions for you and your family. Helping make your life easier. Moms Every Day.
Hello, welcome to Moms Every Day. I'm Amanda Lanham. We've got a fun show for you today. We're letting the dads talk. WIBW meteorologist Jeremy Goodwin and Drew Schweitzer join me and my husband Tanner to talk about fatherhood. We also have a fresh new pasta recipe to share with you. It's quick and easy too. And I want to share the adorable story of a first grader teaching many of us adults the true meaning of friendship. That's all coming up a little bit later. Right now, here's a story that every parent needs to see. It's about secret social media, apps your kids can download and use without you knowing. And as Vicente Aranis shows us, it is making it harder for parents to keep watch.
Imagine trying to see who your child is talking to on social media, but pictures and messages are gone, making getting them an impossible mission. They vanish before you have a chance to look. It's the perfect place for kids to hold a secret conversation.
Basically, you take a picture of something, they receive it, but you can't see it after that.
Police say apps like Kik, Text Plus, and Snapchat have them worried.
The bad guys use it too. Think about it this way. Where's the bad guy who wants to approach children? Where are they going to go? They're going to go where the kids are. Well, the kids are on Snapchat. Well, that's where the predator's going to go.
Investigators say apps that automatically erase themselves can make it very hard to track down people who prey on kids. Police say parents should check their kids' phones and know all they can about apps their kids are using.
My first inclination is my phone, my service, you take it off. It's plain and simple. You own the phone, you own the service, your child. Don't be the friend, be the parent.
Kevin Taylor Jarrell just found out his teenager uses Snapchat, one of the untraceable apps.
It's more easier than texting because you could also send a picture and you can put a message on the picture.
We caught up with the Jarrells at a basketball game where he told us he keeps a close eye on his son, both on and off the court, and wants to make sure his boy uses the phone responsibly.
It seems like you're a parent who's really involved and wants to know what he's doing. Do you watch him closely?
I do. I have all his social media accounts.
But Jarrell was caught off guard when he tried to see his son's Snapchat messages.
As soon as I opened it up, it was there for about 2 or 3 seconds, and that was it.
Jarrell says he's going to keep checking his son's Snapchat account. Officers are hoping more parents do the same.
Just something to be aware of. Well, my next guests don't have to worry about their kids on social media just yet. 3 babies born here at WIBW last year, all within 3 months. We're catching up with the new dads next.
Helping make your life easier. Moms Every Day.
Hi there, welcome to Moms Every Day. I'm Amanda Lanham. We are talking allowances today on the show. Should you give one, and if so, how much? We've got a money expert here to weigh in. And while we're talking money, we have some suggestions for ways to cut your grocery bill. That's aside from the obvious coupons and shopping sales. And a local Scout mom joins me to talk about Cub Scout Adventure Day and how boys and parents can take advantage of the fun. I want to talk about your skin, though, for a minute first. It's the largest organ of the body, and whether it's clear, blemish-covered, tan, or pale, it is one of the first things people notice about you. So we want to take care of it, but some of the things you may have heard about skincare may just not be true. Real Simple magazine separates fact from myth, including the long-held belief that junk food causes acne. Here's the scoop. A group of dermatologists say no studies have shown a direct correlation between junk food and breakouts or acne, but associations have been made between the consumption of high glycemic foods and breakouts among people who are already acne prone. So high glycemic foods would be things like white rice, sweets, sugary drinks, things that can raise blood sugar and insulin levels quickly. So be on the lookout for those. A marketing tool that has some of us uncertain. For best results, use skincare products from the same line. You've heard that one. Dermatologists say you don't need to, unless you're addressing a specific problem like dark spots, and then those packaged approaches may be a little bit better. And unfortunately, dermatologists say we cannot get rid of cellulite as some lotions would have us believe. They say some treatments might minimize the look of cellulite, but the really good ones will only last at best a few months. I thought this one was important. The higher the SPF, the longer you can stay in the sun. Not true. SPF is an indication of how well a product protects you from the sun's UVB rays, not how long. Your best bet is to get a sunscreen labeled broad spectrum, which covers both UVB and wrinkle-causing UVA rays, with an SPF of 30 is what you want, they say. You can read why and check out more skincare myths by visiting our Facebook page for the link. We are Moms Everyday Kansas on Facebook. Well, have you started giving your child an allowance? Are you wondering what's a good amount and whether you should even give them one at all? Well, money expert Cindy Evans is back with us today with some ideas for how you can make an allowance a great learning tool and why it's worth it financially to you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Helping make your life easier. Moms Every Day.
Hot topic I've seen online lately is, when do I start an allowance? Do I start an allowance for my child? So here to answer some of those questions, Cindy Evans from K-State Research and Extension. Thanks for coming over, Cindy.
Always glad to be here.
Okay, so maybe the first question, how do I know when to start an allowance?
Probably when the child is ready to walk out the door to school. Around kindergarten is a good time to begin. Prior to that, they're watching us. Kids are always watching us. And we already know as adults that there are endless wants but limited resources. And so that's the first lesson children are about to learn. But you can start with a very moderate amount of money, maybe 50 cents per year of life. So it may sound really cheap, but $2.50 to a child that's 5 years old.
For a week or a month?
For a week. Okay. And with that, then they have to save a little bit. So maybe they're saving 50 cents or $1, and then they can start to have some choices. What we want is for children to practice money management. And that means that as parents, we have to lighten up a little bit and let them get ready to spend some of that money. Along the way, they will make good decisions, they'll make bad decisions, but they will learn from those.
But we've all done that. I think the key here, the way you've explained it, is the allowance is a learning tool. Some parents say, well, I never got an allowance, you know, part of my reward was that I had a roof over my head and food to eat. But it's not just the reward, it's the learning.
That's right. And you know, we're all part of a family. And so certainly just by virtue of being in the family, we have expectations. Maybe you're going to help with chores, you're going to do a few little things, help take dishes off the table. But part of that too is then giving up a little bit of the family resources so that children then can utilize that money to make some decisions for themselves. That doesn't mean it's total decisions. You know, if as children get older, like the electronic games and things, if something is not appropriate for them, you are the parent, you know, and you have the right to overrule that. But we want children to start making decisions, and it might actually make your life simpler. If when you go to the store you say, oh, be sure to bring, you know, a few dollars of your own and have them put it in their pocket, then as you go through the grocery store and they want candy or they want a ball or they want a toy there, we as parents want to be able to say, yes, yes, you can have that. Is that how you want to spend your resources? You know, when we get home, I've got snacks at home, and so you don't have to buy these, but if that's what you want, that's the decision you make. And then we all learn about opportunity cost. What we buy today takes away from money that we might have to buy something different tomorrow.
And you were talking about that's how your son learned, and so it's a few months, maybe I want to buy these small things, but then they start to realize if they save their money, they can get some of the bigger things they want.
That's right. When he started at $2, it burned a hole in his pocket, and I thought there was no limit of how many ugly little toys we might get for $2. But then he'd get his eye on something that costs a little bit more, maybe $6, and he might have to save for 2 or 3 weeks. We even pulled off our first loan when he wanted a Furby, and so you can tell by our age what that means. But it was $25, and oh, he whined every time he had to pay me back. I feel that way too sometimes when I have to pay off debts that I have. So they learn along the way, and sometimes they buy things that don't last, but it's all part of that learning experience and them learning to make decisions about the resources they've got available.
It's a great learning tool. Cindy, anything else you want to add today? Any other tips?
I just think that as kids get older, we also want to teach them to be caring and sharing, and that may come with that allowance as well. There came a point, instead of me just sending money to school for the local project, I said, I'll match what you send.
Oh, nice. You're so wise, Cindy. All right, thanks for coming over today.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with more Moms Every Day after this.
Houseplants can add so much to the character of your home, but what do you do when they start to look a little bit tired out? I am here with Lou Ann Finke of Finke Gardens and Nursery, and you have some remedies for us.
Right. What I try to do is pick out some of the most common problems, and it can apply to a lot of different situations, not just this. We've moved plants in from our patio. They've been inside for over 3 months now, and so they're starting to stretch. If we start by just clipping out these tips, what we're going to find is it will be fuller in the center, and so a far more attractive plant. And you're going to have so many of these clippings that it'll be a good time to maybe think about doing some cutting. So I'd take those bottom leaves off and then put them into a terrarium situation, a glass jar, anything that helps us keep it a moist environment. Those will be rooting and you'll have plenty to share, or if your plant does die, you've got a backup, a little bit more to have for moving outside in the spring. Another common problem is if you're growing things like citrus or any of the houseplants that prefer a more acid environment, they've been inside, it's house water rather than natural precipitation, so you start to see them turning kind of chlorotic. The citrus in particular would like to have an acid fertilizer, so that's where you go to the Mirror Acid, any of them, the formulations that say it's acid. So this plant needs a touch-up, wipe off the foliage with a very mild or dilute vinegar solution. That'll help clean it up, but you'll be surprised how much better it will look once it has that acid fertilizer. Probably once a month, half strength. This also shows you a pot that the plant needs to be in a larger pot, but never go up more than 1 to 2 inches. So you can see I'm going to take it out of this pot. What I'm going to do is loosen these roots so that they will go into our new high quality potting soil, and we go from this about 6-inch pot up to about a 7 to 8-inch pot, no larger than that. Otherwise, what you find is the plant's drowned with too much, the soil stays too wet too long. And people are always so proud when they're able to overwinter their rosemary inside. It's typically January, February when they give up the goat. So I'm here to cheerlead and say, remember, yes, herbs do like a drier environment, but the dry environment that you get from the forced furnace heat really dries things out quickly. So water your rosemary thoroughly, let it drain out of the bottom, and then water it again before it goes bone dry.
All right, well, good advice. Thank you, Lillian.
You're welcome.
All right, did you know that you and your son are invited to test out a fun day with the Cub Scouts, even if your son's not signed up for Scouts yet? We'll talk with the Scout Mom and about Cub Adventure Day. That's next.
Helping make your life easier. Moms Every Day.
Being a Boy Scout is an adventure. Kim Wells is here to talk about scouting because, Kim, your son is in Scouts, right?
Yes, he is.
And how old is he?
He is actually 11 years old, and he is a Boy Scout.
Okay, so there are different levels. I've been trying to learn this. I get a little confused. Run through the levels real quick.
They start off with a first grader, and that is the Tiger Cub. Then they go for second grade, and that's a Bear Cub. I'm trying to remember them all. No, excuse me, that's a Wolf.
Okay.
Then you have a third grader, and that is a Bear Cub. And then the fourth and fifth are Webelos 1 and Webelos 2.
Okay.
After you become a Webelos 2, then you do what we call a crossover, and then you become a full-fledged Boy Scout. And then they go into their various levels.
Okay, so he's made it.
He's made it. He just crossed over a year ago, last year.
All right. What's his name?
His name is Christopher.
Christopher. Okay, so tell me, we're talking about Cub Adventure Day.
Yes.
Is what you and I are discussing. One of the many things I'm sure you've been through
yes.
with the Scout so far. What is it?
Cub Adventure Day is a day where anyone who is interested in scouting, mainly our young men, ages 7 through 11, can come, and they do all types of activities, one from archery, BBs, arts and crafts. It's just a great day of fun.
A lot of things going on. So you said interested in. Does that mean you don't have to be signed up to go to Cub Adventure Day?
You do not have to be signed up. It would be preferable, but we encourage anyone who's just got the interest in being a Boy Scout or Cub Scout to come on out.
That'd be a lot of fun.
It is at Falley's Reservation, and we call it Jayhawk campsites, and we just have a great time.
When is it usually held? Is it the same time of year each year?
It usually is. It's usually held right after the young men go back to school, usually either in September, the end of September, or the early part of October.
Why did you decide to get involved and get your son involved?
Well, we started off, he came in as a bear. The usual, the schools send out these little flyers saying, oh, there's going to be a Cub Scout meeting. Would you like to join? And my son ran home, Mom, I want to be a Cub Scout. I want to be a Cub Scout. And I said, okay, we'll do this. Little did I know later that I would become a Cub Scout leader, a Cub master who's in charge of the whole pack. And now I do that as well as an assistant Scout master. So I'm on both sides, Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts.
Does it take up a lot of your time?
I love it. At first I kept saying to myself, what am I getting myself into? But it's just a part of me now. I love it. I love what Scouts means to these young men, as well as some of us moms and dads.
What's been your favorite part so far?
Well, my troop and my pack would say fishing. Miss Wells is the fishing expert. I love to take the boys fishing and camping. We have a great time.
That's a lot of fun. What's been your son's favorite part?
I guess his right now is earning merit badges since he's a Boy Scout, but he loves fishing too. Especially when he catches some of those big catfish.
You wear those badges with pride too.
Oh, with pride.
Especially now at his age. That's very important. Okay, so if you had to tell folks about joining Scouts, or if they had any questions, what would you tell them? What's been the biggest benefit?
The biggest benefit for my son, who was very quiet when we started out, is he has become a great leader. Scouting develops character, teamwork. You make friends that are going to last you a lifetime, be it a child or, like myself, a parent. I have made so many friends, and I'm having such a wonderful time.
Pretty neat. All right, Kim, thanks for coming over today.
You're very welcome.
We'll be right back with more Moms Every Day after this.
Hi everybody, I'm in the kitchen today with Chef Chris, and you have a solution for us with avocados.
Hi, after you've picked your ripe avocado, and the trick with that is you're going to push the button on where the stem grew, and if it pushes in just a little bit, it means it's ripe. Sometimes you can tell by the outside, sometimes you cannot. This one is a little bit hard on the outside, but it was beautiful and ripe on the inside. And after we sliced it through with our paring knife all the way around, I took a larger knife, I cut right into that pit, and that pit pulled right out. And then what I did is I made nice slices in the avocado, both directions, and then just scooped it out with my spoon. Now the other tip would be, if you'd like to use this shell, now that you have this shell that's emptied out, you could just slice off the bottom nice and flat, and it will sit on your plate. And then you can fill it with a nice avocado salad.
Perfect, thank you.
You're welcome.
Read any good food labels lately? They're supposed to help you shop, but sometimes they can be confusing or even misleading. I'm registered dietitian Carolyn O'Neill, helping you eat better for life. The best guide for making decisions affecting your diet is the Nutrition Facts Panel, which is regulated by the FDA, and for meats and poultry by the USDA. Before you read all of these numbers, take note of the serving size that they're based upon. This package actually contains 4 servings. So if you drink the whole thing, guess what? You just consumed 4 times the 70 calories per serving. If you're looking to limit the fat, sodium, and sugar in your diet, as we all should be doing, this panel is your friend. You'll see that total fat is listed, as well as a fat breakdown, including trans fats, which should be totally avoided. Look for the good stuff. A healthy diet should include sources of fiber, vitamin A, vitamin C, calcium, iron, and potassium. Protein content is listed too. The FDA's website has many more food label tips to help you read it before you eat it. I'm registered dietitian Carolyn O'Neill for Best Food Facts, helping you to eat better for life.
And food is a major part of most everyone's budget. When it comes to saving, coupon cutting and sale shopping are obvious, but there are other tips you can use to save even more. Money expert Stacey Johnson offers a few more tasty ideas you may not have thought of.
Groceries can take a huge bite out of a budget. According to the most recent report from the BLS, the average American household spent around $4,000 on food in 2012.
You want to cut those costs? Well, you probably already know about things like buying on sale and using coupons, hopefully also things like using a list. So what else is there? What else can you do?
First, the whole truth. Whole chickens are cheaper than cut up. Whole fruit is cheaper than pre-sliced. Block cheese is cheaper than grated. Don't pay someone to do your slicing for you. Next, generics and store brands. That's a simple way to save 20 to 50% on stuff that's sometimes identical. Worried about quality? Many stores offer a money-back guarantee on their house products, so if you don't like it, take it back.
Another thing that really matters is where you shop. Sure, you know about warehouse stores, but what about farmers markets, food co-ops, buying clubs? What about local places? They can often get you screaming deals on things like organics. Another great place to save, salvage grocery stores.
This is where you'll find dented cans, torn packaging, closeouts. You get the picture. It's not pretty, but it's cheap, up to 50% off.
My cupboard stays all dented and smashed from one side to the other, but I save a lot of money. The food tastes the same.
Finally, take care of the food you do buy. Buttering cheese prevents mold. Transfer small amounts of perishables like sour cream into smaller containers. Store things airtight. Freeze things before they go bad.
Bottom line, if you want to squash your grocery bill, there are lots of ways to do it. Now what you need is more details. I've got lists of food co-ops and salvage grocery stores waiting for you at MoneyTalksNews.com. Just do a search for Saving on Groceries. For Money Talks News, I'm Stacey Johnson.
And if you're looking to make a little extra cash and get rid of some items you don't use or wear anymore, we have tips to help you have a fabulous garage sale. Those are online now at MomsEveryday.com, along with a recipe for cheesy broccoli ranch mashed potatoes. I love every word of that. Anything that starts with cheesy is bound to be a hit in my house. We've got all that for you at MomsEveryday.com. I hope that what we've talked about today will help you around the house and with the kiddos. I'm Amanda Lanham. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Visit Moms Everyday online or on the go through our Moms Everyday app. Download it today to find local solutions for you and your family. Helping make your life easier. Moms Everyday.
Hello, welcome to Moms Everyday. I'm Amanda Lanham. It is Tuesday, which means we have another Together Fit workout coming up. Biceps are our target today. Keeping up with technology can get expensive really fast. Moms Everyday found a way to buy them at slashed prices. We'll tell you about that. Kids mean credits on your taxes. An expert is here to remind you how to get more money back. And a social network is helping kids get into good colleges. More on that in just a minute. Always looking for ways to save at the grocery store. MomsEveryday.com contributor 719 Woman says to check out the bulk bins if you need a small amount of an ingredient like spices or grains. Whole blocks of cheese cost less than pre-sliced and shredded packs, and baked goods can be marked up as much as 300%. So bypass the bakery department and consider making your own bread or muffins. Even making them from a mix can be less expensive than buying pre-made items. There are several other ways to save at the grocery store. Visit MomsEveryday.com and check the Money tab. If you have a high schooler at home, you may be looking at colleges now. Part of that process could now include encouraging them to sign up for a profile on the social networking site LinkedIn. Here's why.
This year, as future undergrads try to get into their dream schools, they have a new tool, LinkedIn. The professional social network recently launched University Pages, which offer online snapshots of colleges.
You're in the right place. That's right, LinkedIn.
The university pages can also reveal the types of students the school is seeking.
I can start to look at the freshmen, sophomores of a university, look at their profiles, how they develop their profile, what they put on there. It starts to give me an idea of the breadth of experiences they brought in.
For young self-starters like 17-year-old Canadian student Patrick Mott, LinkedIn is a virtual career counselor.
Allows me to find people that I think who, have a really cool job and see where they went to school, what their first job was, kind of the path that they've taken.
But even with limited work experience, kids can create strong profiles using LinkedIn's Student Verticals feature.
You can add things like coursework, things that you're learning in the classroom, publications that you've been quoted in.
High schoolers should also emphasize volunteer work and tap their network for endorsements. Another LinkedIn benefit: it could give you a direct connection with someone in admissions. Jeff Schiffman of Tulane Admissions says he recently received his first LinkedIn request from a prospective student.
Whereas Facebook is going to be, pictures of your social life. And I think LinkedIn, it's universally recognized as a different form, a form that's much more for advancement in your career or allowing others to see your resume and your skill set and what you're passionate about, in the workforce.
Another reason to give your LinkedIn profile the old college try.
It's all about connections. Well, stay here. It is Together Fit Tuesday. We're working biceps. Easy for you to do right there in your living room. Hint, hint. That's coming up after the break.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Helping make your life easier. Moms Every Day.
Guess what time it is? It's time to get fit here on Moms Every Day. Chris Omni back from Making Moves, and we're working our way through the Own It and Tone It series.
Yes.
Worked on heart last week.
Correct.
Now we're doing
biceps.
Get your arms ready.
Yes.
All right.
So with Making Moves, we have a saying: stop making excuses and start making moves.
I love it.
Okay. One of the excuses that people use is that I don't have a gym membership. Okay, and that could be legitimate. Another excuse is I don't have free weights. That could be an excuse, but it can also be legitimate. But my question is, do you have canned goods? Do you have any canned goods at home?
We have canned goods.
Okay. Let's see. Do you have a baby at home?
I have a baby at home.
Well, hey, this gives you time to interact with your baby as well as getting some canned goods out the cabinet, whatever it is that works.
Water bottles.
Water bottles. Yes. So be creative, especially if you want to go for a gallon of milk. Those are some serious curls.
I'm not ready for the gallon. I could do maybe some pints.
Some pints?
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is just give you the basic framework for the bicep curls.
Okay.
We don't have anything in our hands, but we can still feel the exercise. So abs in tight, shoulders back. And I'm just going to ask you to bend your knees just a little bit and take your arms down. Now, for those of you out there, I would like for you to take your right hand and place it over your left bicep. This is your bicep. Now, just start in this position, curling up and down.
You can feel it.
You can feel that. Now, here's a little science. We talk about this in class. Bicep is spelled B-I. So that means there are two heads in that bicep. Now, what I want you to do out there is take it all the way down, hold on nice and tight, rotate that fist. Rotate it again. Rotate and rotate. What you'll feel are the two separate heads being engaged in that one bicep. So, curl up, go down, and then we turn it into a hammer curl, curl up, and go
it's
down.
working the other part?
Yes, it sure is.
Ah.
So, bicep curls. So what we're going to do now is take both of our arms down, grab whatever you want from your cabinet, or if you want to go into your refrigerator and get some milk, or if you want to hold your baby, okay? Hold your baby.
Just be careful.
Yes, be very, very careful, please. So, you're going to curl up and down. Now, I'm going to turn to the side, but you keep on doing what you're doing.
Okay.
When you're doing a bicep curl, we do not want you to break your wrist. And what that means is when you come up, going like that.
Don't try to touch your shoulders.
Do not try to touch your shoulders. That's called breaking the wrist. And what we want you to do is just keep that strong, firm grasp right in through here without breaking. So you're curling up and down. No matter what you do, you can also work your abs. So that means suck it in nice and tight.
I didn't think about it till you said abs. Better suck it in.
That's kind of like when you're in class and people say, work on your posture. Up nice and tall.
Reminds you, yeah.
All right, so now we're going to do the other one. So flip it to the other side. You're going to do what's called a hammer curl, curling up and down. Now, as a beginner, I recommend 1 set of 8. Okay. Now, I think you're a little more than a beginner, so we'll go through 2 sets of 8 like we did in that last segment. So we're going to keep on going. Our abs are nice and tight, and don't forget to breathe. Okay? A lot of people have a tendency to hold their breath. Exactly. So a good way to do that is just count. And we talk about that in class every Tuesday and Thursday at Ross Elementary. So if you like the sample, come on out to the class, 5:30 to 6:30.
It's free.
Yes. Free, fun, and family friendly.
So kids are welcome.
Kids are always welcome. So that's our sample for biceps.
Love it.
Yes.
All right, I feel good. Gives you a little energy to do it.
But will you feel good next week when we do triceps and push-ups?
I don't know about the push. Can I use my knees for the push-ups?
Yes, you can. All right,
Then
and
I'll
so
see
can
you. Next week. All right, thanks, Chris. We'll be right back. Well, a pair of recent studies could change the stereotype of the dumb jock. Hopefully you got up and moved with us in that last segment, because these studies found evidence that moving your body could be the best medicine to boost your brain. Here's Melissa Bruner.
Kansas education and health officials recently joined forces to push an important message. Physical fitness could help kids move to the head of the class.
I think being healthier makes you happy. What's good for the heart is also good for the brain.
Physical therapist Michael Bagwell says the findings make sense when you consider the physiological impact of exercise.
If the brain's got more blood flow, it's able to extract more oxygen, so it's able to operate more efficiently. I think it's definitely going to set the stage to improve these kids' ability to concentrate and focus.
The Kansas Departments of Education and Health and Environment launched the K-Fit initiative to track fitness levels and academic performance of 4th through 9th graders. They found students who scored in a healthy fitness zone also scored above standard on state reading and math assessments and missed fewer days of school. Bagwell says that's another benefit of exercise.
It's also just going to build your immune system and help you fight off potential illnesses.
It doesn't end with middle school. A separate University of Kansas study found high school students who participate in athletics had better attendance and graduation rates and assessment scores, and they were less likely to drop out compared to non-athletes.
They're exposed to time management and priorities and goal setting.
The KU researchers note policies of maintaining minimum academic performance in order to participate also play a role.
And I think it helps me be more motivated to keep my grades up.
Plus, Bagwell notes student athletes are banking what he calls social capital that can be an intangible part of their learning environment.
Just learning how to interact and getting to know their educators on a more personal basis just kind of helps anybody develop just that sense of trust, and just communication is improved.
Get your kids moving. Researchers are applying these same theories in studying whether physical activity can improve brain function in people with conditions such as dementia or Alzheimer's disease. Very important to get moving. Well, February is Child Congenital Heart Disease Awareness Month. 1 in every 110 babies is born with a congenital heart defect. That's about 40,000 a year. As Rick Wells shows us, finding the defect early, even during prenatal visits, can greatly improve chances for a successful outcome.
This adorable 8-month-old's name is Kenton. You'd never guess he was born with a heart defect.
Congenital heart defect called hypoplastic left heart syndrome.
Simply, his heart didn't fully develop. Kenton's mom, Tina, says they found the problem during one of her prenatal ultrasounds. That's very important because doctors were ready for it when he was born. During his first 5 months, he had 2 heart surgeries.
They basically just reroute the circulatory system. They bypass his left ventricle.
That's the pumping unit of the heart that didn't properly develop. He's had few complications as a result of the surgeries, essentially because doctors knew what to expect and were ready for it. Pretty normal-looking kid. Seeing if he can get the old TV guy to play pacifier pickup. Yep, works every time. They have to be extra careful early on anyway how much Kenton is exposed to. Family hasn't been able to take him to church to show everyone how he's doing, so church came to them. Folks at the New Heart Fellowship Church made these signs and stuck them in the yard, just to be sure Kenton's family knew they were thinking about him. During his extensive stays at St. Francis Hospital, he's accumulated quite a few strings of beads of courage.
This one represents like a heart surgery.
He's got 2 of those. Each bead is a stick or a poke or a new IV. 3 hospital stays is a lot for a little guy. His heart's working better. Let me show you something that'll make your heart feel great, too.
How cute. What a precious little smile. Well, your precious little ones can save or make you big money come tax time. We'll talk with an expert about tax credits for parents next.
Helping make your life easier. Moms Every Day.
It is tax season. If you've got a child at home, there may be some things you need to do with your taxes. We have Cindy Evans here from K-State Research and Extension to talk about those. This can be a confusing topic, Cindy.
Certainly, and for those who are new parents, and I know that you are one of them.
Several around here, yeah.
Things can change from year to year on that tax return. The first thing might be your filing status. So if you've had a new baby this year, if you were single, that child might make you the head of household. If you're already married filing joint, then your married status or your filing status isn't going to change. But you want to get it right because it affects how much you're going to get as a standard deduction.
So what are some things you need to make sure you are getting right?
Certainly letting people know how you're going to file. Although it sounds like that's real straightforward, it's really not, because with our family type today, sometimes people have children who are not married. Mm-hmm. And so when they get to the tax preparer, they first have to decide which one of them might be going to claim head of household and the other one being single. And depending on the income and the kind of credits they may qualify for, it may be more advantageous for one person than the other. So they just want to spend some time with the tax preparer explaining what their family situation is like, so they can make sure that they know to claim that. And although it would be a very sad situation, you know, somebody who has lost a child during the year is also able to claim that child on the tax return. And that is something that is often overlooked when the child might be stillborn and when they've lost a child to a premature death.
Mm-hmm. When we're talking about credits, what do we need to know? I don't know any of these things, so fill us in.
Well, if you are working, you might be having your child placed in the care of someone else. Mm-hmm. And so there's a child independent care credit that people who are working can claim. That is one of the requirements, and that's why I emphasize it so much. Although if I'm doing a married filing joint return, one of those people might actually be a full-time student. So they would count that as working. But I'm going to be able then to claim a percentage of the expenses that I pay for my child care on my tax return and get a credit for that. But that will age out when the child turns 13. And then there are other credits like the child tax credit that as long as I have earned at least $3,000, you may get up to $1,000 of a credit per child on your return. The child tax credit actually ages out when a child turns 17, and the big one is the earned income credit. And of course, that depends on a family's earnings. It's meant to be helpful for low to moderate income families, and whether you've got 1 child, 2 child, or 3 children in the home, the income varies. But the upper limit's going to be around $51,000 this year for somebody who is married filing joint, okay? Mm-hmm. So if your income's beneath that, you ought to at least look to see if you qualify. But you've got to have the better credit's going to be if I've got a child in the home that's age 19 or down, or up to age 24 and a full-time student.
Okay, so I'm sure people out there have lots of questions. You've answered some of them. If they've got more, do you have resources online?
Yes, if you go to www.shawnee.ksu.edu, the most helpful thing right now is a list of where they can get their taxes prepared for free.
Okay.
The free tax assistance sites are going to help people with low to moderate incomes, and I can ask them questions on that. Also, IRS.gov certainly has all their publications there that people can read more about the tax credits and see if they qualify. I'd be happy to answer questions for them as well.
Okay, sounds good. You don't want to miss out on the credits.
No, certainly
So
not.
Good to know that information, Cindy. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with more Moms Every Day after this.
Introducing Sync Back, the app that lets you watch WIBW wherever you are. Live TV on your mobile device, free. Get the Sync Back app for your smartphone and tablet and start watching WIBW free now.
Welcome back. Our parents, grandparents, some of you great-grandparents are living longer, and in order for senior citizens to stay in their own homes, some are turning to neighborhood volunteer networks that are called villages. This is a grassroots movement spreading to communities across the country. I looked up Kansas, and we have just one in development, and that's in Lawrence. Susan McGinnis went to a local village in Washington, D.C. to show us how it's working.
96-year-old Paige Wilson loves the Georgetown house she's called home for the last 5 decades.
I don't want to go to what I call a going place. I want to stay here.
Paige and other seniors in her neighborhood got together to found Georgetown Village. They pay a membership fee, and the organization connects them with volunteers who lend a helping hand.
Paige, how are you? Good to see you again.
Like Jim Smith. After Paige broke her foot, Jim came over to make calls for a follow-up appointment.
And she is trying to figure out who her main physician was.
He's assisted other village members with medical bills and household repairs.
It's the simple, things you and I would consider to be simple that it's just such a big help.
The village concept is catching on. Is it growing in Georgetown?
Oh, absolutely. We're up to 190 members, and we only started 2 years ago.
Lynn Gallup-Rafrano keeps it all running from an office nearby.
We'll put you in for a snow shovel.
Members call with requests as often as they like, and village volunteers are dispatched.
It's exciting to be part of the movement, part of the village movement. I get to be part of, what's going to be the new face of aging in America.
This group of people really does actually help you to stay in the home that you want to live in.
Oh, absolutely, yes. The things that has surprised me about this, I guess, is how much I get out of it. I meet wonderful people. I always feel like I get just as much out of it as they do.
A little bit of Jim's time goes a long way to help Paige keep her independence.
It's pretty neat. The village also organizes many social events and outings. Like I said, there's just one in development in Kansas, in Lawrence. If you want to learn more, though, go to vtvnetwork.org. We're showing you how to save money on MomsEveryday.com. Check out the essential car care routine that saves and keeps you safe on the road. What you are or aren't doing may be putting your dog at risk for pain or poor health. A preventative veterinary medicine expert has some advice for keeping the family dog healthy. And check out one mom's witnessing of gender inequality that some parents may not even realize they're teaching their kids. It's all waiting for you now at MomsEveryday.com. But can you imagine having twins? Some of you have been there. How about triplets? How about thinking you're having triplets, then giving birth, and an extra unexpected fourth baby makes an appearance? It happened to a woman in Jackson, Mississippi. You maybe have heard about this. 4 identical baby girls conceived with no medical assistance. Quadruplets happen 1 in every 729,000 live births. Identical quadruplets, doctors say the odds are almost incalculable. The last known set was born in Germany in January 2012. God bless that household. Well, I hope that what we've talked about today will help you around the house and with the kiddos. I'm Amanda Lanham. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Our Moms Everyday app. Download it today to find local solutions for you and your family.